a boss who is a terrorist. The Palestinians have a propaganda campaign where they want you to believe that they were the first in the Holy Land, and the Jews are the interlopers. They're not the indigenous peoples. And Abbas, who is a terrorist, who was the mastermind behind the 1972 Munich slaughter of the Israeli Olympians, he's pushing out the lies that actually the Jews first formed this faith in Yemen.
So if you want to get rid of a people and a religion, right? And when you want to get rid of an entire people, an entire race of people, because the Jews, they have a special bloodline, right? So when you want to take that bloodline away from the world map, then how to manage such a war? What will you do in order to win such a war? You would convince one of their own to go against his own people. And you do that with money, with power status. You give that person a power status in society, and that one have to sell his soul to the devil, and in return he will get everything he want in this world. And we have such persons, and Bill Gates is one of them. He is Jew, and he has the vaccination program. And so they need him to do bad stuff. That is how the Satanism religion was created, I think, as a war tactic, so that you can convince this Jew to go against his own people, and then make him into believing, like it just some people among every people, there will be some people who can be convinced to go against their own people, right? Not all people are loyal to their own country, to their own people. So that is their way of conquering Jews, because Jews are in general very intelligent and they do much good for society. But if you want people to hate them, if they are much loved in general, then how to turn that upside down? Because I think they have been very much loved once upon a time. And once upon a time they were living in peace with the Palestinian people. But the way they turn it upside down is that they make people punish the Jews, so that no matter what the Jews do, if they do good or if they do bad, people in general who are not very well educated and don't do their own investigation and are not intellectual and have not gone through a spiritual awareness process, they would most likely be convinced, manipulated to punish the Jews, all the Jews, for what one person have done against the whole world, right? I think that Bill Gates is what he's doing is a war tactic in order for African people to get rid of these Jews, because here in Africa they hate the lineage of Jacob, the how to say in English, the descendants of Jacob, and the Jews are one of the tribes that are descendants of Jacob. So they want to get rid of the Jews, right? And so they have somehow camouflaged how rich they are, and they let their own people stay poor until this war is over between Islam and it's actually not even about Islam, because they allow Christianity in their country and they themselves invented Christianity, right? But they want Christianity and Islam to fight. and they don't even care about educate their own people, because they think much ahead in time. These people have internal souls. They have technology to be reborn into new bodies as they wish. So what they are doing is that they pay Bill Gates and the Rothschilds, and allow them to do much evil in this world, and then good people, and bad people from other countries that might have other belief systems than Islam, Christianity, or might be Christians, might be Muslims, then common people will start to blame all Jews, and especially the Jews that want to create their own country. Because see, what if they have any awareness of what Bill Gates is doing, then they get so much revenge. Like they want to, then they feel so much revenge suddenly. And when people feel revenge, they want to do revenge. It's not like me, I'm an oracle. I don't want to revenge anything. That is not how I am thinking, right? So when I'm together with people, I don't take revenge in any kind of situation. But I understand how people are not respecting life, because I'm not in charge as an oracle. That's why they start to not respect women. And it's actually the women's responsibility to choose me as an oracle. So they have to wake up. The women have to wake up. And then that is a very, very tricky thing, right? So narcissistic war tactic is very tricky. And if you don't understand narcissism in its core essence, then you will not be able to figure all this out. So the Jews have gone through a lot of things. So common sense would be to welcome them to have their own country after after the Second World War, right, with Hitler, and then they should have had their own country from the very start, a peaceful place where they could rest and recover from all trauma. But let's listen to this one again.
It's just so stupid. The Palestinians have a propaganda campaign where they want you to believe that they were the first in the Holy Land, and the Jews are the interlopers. They're not the indigenous peoples. And Abbas...
That is what is happening around the world, not only with Bill Gates and Rothschilds. That is the war tactic that the Muslim society do. They pay somebody, and maybe European country are also not innocent. Maybe Western culture are also not innocent. Maybe they do the same. But in this situation with Israel, I start to believe that this is the picture. This is the whole picture that I'm trying to tell you guys and Guyanas about.
Who was a terrorist, who was the mastermind behind the 1972 Munich slaughter of the Israeli Olympians. He's pushing out the lies.
And the Jews has been hated for a very, very, very long time now. It's like they have always been hated since that story about Adam and Eve being chased out of the Garden of Eden, right? It was like we were not chased out. White people came from within the earth, but then when we came to black community on the surface of the earth, then the Africans has not allowed us to be part of the community. So we have been, the Jews especially, have been chased around in all corners of the world, but especially Danish people actually have. At least we have our own country, but we have a very, very small country now. We have, and we might lose Greenland, right? But white people are all evil in the eyes of black people. They are raised to believe that they are indoctrinated with that belief system that we are evil and we are not supposed to be here. At the same time, they are blocking the entrances so that we cannot go back to the inner world, with our rainbow sun. And at the same time, they proudly say that they are the architects of everything before the mud flood, and I think it's a lie. I really think it's a lie. It can be the nowadays African people with that mentality that they have been intelligent enough to build the pyramids and build all the Tartarian architecture. That has been white people doing that. But because they live in narcissistic societies that want to suppress white people, then they want to take the honor for everything, and then they have made up stories about aliens and all this. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, in order to scare us. If they can get white people to believe that the aliens are controlling this world, then white people would most likely surrender to that idea that we all come from Africa, and that we are inferior to black people because they have melatonin in their skin. So I see more than just a war between men and women, because Islam is a war against women and Christianity is a war against women, and all religions are actually, and cultural societies has been worldwide has been very reluctant to create a matriarchy, right? And it's a man-chauvinistic world to live in. It's a patriarchy. It's a patriarchy that is ruling the world, and that have to change, because our biological nature is not designed to live that way, and it's a root cause of all sickness, mental sickness, and the jealousy that arises from this confusion about our sexuality, and how to make the woman be governor of her society, and this confusion about men having many women, and it should be in the contrary, that women have many men to protect themselves and their children and work for them, so that the men can teamwork, which they are programmed to already biologically by Mother Nature, to provide for the queen and her children. So it's pure indoctrination when the man has to start to raise children, has to start to think, oh, this is my child, this is my geno. Originally, men was not even programmed to think like that. They were programmed to think like that only in the tantric rituals. And in the everyday life, it was expressed in a good manner. They needed to treat their queen as best as possible. They needed to impress their queen with a good heart, with their talent for singing or playing playing an instrument, right? Because only the king is allowed in this kind of dream cream regime society, matriarchic society, to perform with singing, and that singing should be oracle poems either that I have created or that those queens have created for their husband to sing for them in public, so that they can be role models for the other men. So men need to be treated as not inferior, but life protectors and gardeners and providers. That is their respectful status. And women, they should live as queens in castles with their children and together with their many husbands. That is our biological nature. And because that has been turned upside down and twisted so that the people feel disgust about this kind of way, because they were educated in that love is a different kind of love and freedom is a different kind of freedom, and that politic is a different kind of politic, then it's very not easy to just turn everything upside down, because our belief systems has been twisted into thinking, oh, it's terrible to live like that men have tried to do like that but they couldn't manage. And why couldn't they manage? Because they're young souls with a lesser sexuality than women have a big sexuality, and when that sexuality is not feeded, then she become not less intelligent, but then she can't be, what she can manage in life is less. She need to that is not freedom for women, that is suppression of a woman's sexuality. As much that she receive the energy from her husbands, as much she can love and care for the husbands and figure out through that energy, carrying that energy within her body, figure out what is the best for her man. And a woman will always regard her man as equal to her children. So when we want equality between the sexes, it doesn't exist. But equality between how the queen is treating her own children and how the queen is taking loving care of the men during sexual intercourse, and how the men in return are taking good care of their queen in the sexual tantric intercourse, which is a prayer work, securing that their children's future will be great, making miracles on earth, etc. That kind of equality is common sense, is biological correct way of thinking, because everything else is making us sick, is making both sexes sick, making men utterly sick. That kind of a war that is going on in the world is not the biological war between the men's sperm inside their queen pussy womb, competing about who did show that woman much the most care, the most love, because that's that man she will be the most emotionally connected to, and that man's sperm will win the contest. That is why he's not only sending one sperm cell into her vagina, because he sent an army, and you think that is a coincidence that he sent a big army. He sent a big army because he have to compete with other sperm inside her vagina. That is what war is about. So we don't need to get rid of war. We just have to understand what is real war, biological war about. It's not about shooting children and women and destroying big, beautiful architecture and destroying historical evidence and then rebuild society. That is not what it's about. It's about prevailing what is teamworking. For men, the biological nature is teamwork. Teamwork, and for women, is not that kind of teamwork. It's just visiting their daughters in another city and respecting that her daughter have hundreds and hundreds and thousands, sometimes thousands of men, right? And not sleeping with each other's men. When in such a society, there would be no jealousy, because when a queen visit another city, another village, that will be her daughter ruling over there in the neighbor city, right? And then the man is just not allowed to go to the neighbor country, to the neighbor city, and the men are not allowed to be together with their children in future, in the many hundreds of, if not thousands of years. Because if you look at how long time it took for the men to become like this, and how long it took for the women to become like this and have these kinds of feelings that freedom is this, sexuality is this, and power is this, and political ruling system ought to be like this, right? It took thousands and thousands of years to convince men and women about this. So now it would take maybe thousands and thousands of years before men have been totally healed from the desire to do to be pedophile. So we have to get rid of pedophile, but I believe, and it may be, I hope, because this have to be started as an experiment. So I hope how it will turn out to be that we can allow men to be with their children. But if there are any cases, because when they start to live this way, then everybody will be happy. There will be sexual satisfied, and there will be common sense. Everything will make so much common sense that they don't need to become pedophile. They don't need to do harm to children anymore. And that it will be the natural consequence of living like it is. So, but it has to be started as an experiment, and then it has to be observed by sexologists, by anthropologists, and so it has to be observed and controlled in such a way that to make sure that these men are not doing harm to the children. And then if there is no harm to the children and no cases of child abuse, then it can be legal for the men to be alone with their children, to teach them how to fish, educate them in how to build a building, and so forth. But we still need women in such a society, separated from the queen's men, of course, but women to educate the children in, and that is why it's so difficult to start such a society all over again, because women have been designed to compete against each other, right? So we are trapped. We are kind of trapped, and that is why I tell you guys in Guyana's everything has been turned upside down and twisted a little bit. So people just have to wake up to this reality, this truth, and then they need to slowly heal from the pain of realizing this truth, and one day, hopefully one day, there will still be beautiful, intelligent, human, biological nature like this beings on this earth without any technology in their bodies to create such a society. Because that is how we were created by Mother Nature. That is how Mother Nature wants us to live. And that is what is truly creating peace.
Actually, the Jews first formed this faith in Yemen.
So when you start to look at life through this lens, then everything, politic and religion, suddenly become one big nonsense. So then everything you listen to is just the contrary of the truth. So then you can realize that the world has gone totally insane. That is also a big pain to go through, and realizing that. And trust me, I've gone through that pain and I have healed myself from that pain. But as long as I can live in peace like this, with no enemies, then I can continue my work, and then I can stay happy. And if you don't have me as an oracle, then I will be reborn, and there will be an even greater war against me after proving now all this to you guys in Guyana's. But I'm not sure that if I get reborn, that I will have enough time to help you guys in Guyana's to to not be become something else that you are in flesh and blood, made by Mother Nature. And so it doesn't matter who made us. It matters what is here, and how it was supposed to live in harmony. And people have totally misunderstood the concept of being human beings. They have made an artificial world. They have made an artificial world because they started to disrespect the incarnation belief system, and not take the reincarnation truths for a reality, not regard it to be a reality. And without the understanding of reincarnation, men would never ever understand. And yes, that men might have been manipulated away from reincarnation from some kind of alien species. That is possible, but they have no power over us as human beings if we wake up to this truth and start to fight for real freedom for men and women, and real politics that is about a woman, a queen, as a dictator over a loving, caring mother dictator for her men in a village, in a town. And men will not realize all this, be able to realize this without the reincarnation and the deep understanding of what's going on with men. They are being reincarnated again and again and again, hundreds of times, thousands of times, before they finally become a woman. But that is not a goal. The life journey is not about that goal at all, because it's a great honor to be on that journey and protect the queen and protect the children. And it's as valuable as being a queen dictator already graduated by life. So what the men want to do, they want to create robots and inoperate technology into our bodies and dehumanize our sexuality as much as possible, because then they have proven to themselves that they are not young souls. They have already graduated. See what we could create life ourselves as a god. We don't need women to be. There is a kind of jealousy against the teacher. You sit on the school bench, you are a newborn child, and after some years, 5 years, 6 years, then you sit on the school bench, and then you get jealous at your teacher. So you see how insane men have become. But this is their belief system. They are jealous at women in power. And that is why the men who has woken up to female rights but they have not totally waken up, because they still have the Christianity that told them, the movie stars in the movies to tell them and manipulate them to think that one woman, one man is the perfect marriage, and that is how it should be. That marriage is nothing without the king, the role model of that city, of that town, with many men. That king is nothing without the teamwork from the men from that village, that city, to cooperate with him on making that queen happy. Una eleva. Do you understand? So it's very important, these things, what I'm telling you. It's so important that we resolve the human condition. And I see that the psychologists have made some new discovery and I don't know what it is about. I've never tried to find out what it's about. I'm busy elsewhere. I'm busy looking within my own heart what's going on there, and looking at the world, what's going on there, and then find solutions. And I see that that is the only this misconception about the life, the men and women and their roles in life, and that the reincarnation is not something accepted all around the world. That is what's creating problem. The taboo about the female sexuality that is greater, much greater than a man, and the ignorance towards that women, the greater their sexuality is, the more information she receive, the more energy she received into her energy field, and the more the more universal information, like divinity and intelligence, she will gain. And that is causing all the problems in politics. That is causing all the problems in our homes, in our personal life. That is causing all the problems in every aspect of life. So that is what I wanted to say with this video.